Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 10th webinar. Today, we're going to explore a topic that's vital for all children, the importance of playtime. Play is not just a way to pass time, it's actually a very crucial part of development that fosters learning in areas like communication skills, social skills, and even everyday life skills. And these are all such important skills that we want to teach our children. So, in today's webinar, we'll be discussing the different types of play and how we can create opportunities for play at home. This webinar, like all of our others, is designed specifically for parents and caregivers of children with neurodevelopmental disabilities. We've tailored our resources to address the unique challenges that you might face so that we can provide some practical insights and suggestions through these webinars. To introduce myself for a little bit, my name is Stephanie Lee, and I'm a board certified behavior analyst, ABCBA. I've been working in the field since 2016, primarily with children and teens with autism and ADHD. So the strategies and topics that I bring to these webinars are mainly pulled from my direct experiences from working with students and families at schools and homes. And my hope for these webinars is that you leave with some new ideas and some valuable information. So let's get started. On our agenda today, we have the different types of play. And yes, there are many different forms of play, especially when it comes to different developmental milestones. We're also going to talk about the importance of play, addressing common challenges when encouraging play, and ways to incorporate play for skill building. Types of play. We have several different types of play. First, we have cause and effect play. So pressing buttons, turning handles to watch as they light up, make sounds, or fall down. These are all examples of this type of play. Cause and effect play helps our children understand how their actions lead to specific outcomes. And it might even foster critical thinking skills and problem solving skills as well. This is a very basic, but also very important skill, especially in the very early stages of learning. So, in the beginning stages of our children engaging in play, cause and effect play might be our first one. Second, we have functional play that might kind of start developing simultaneously, if not right after cause and effect play. And this is where children use toys in the ways they were designed or intended. So, for example, building with blocks, stacking cups, rolling a ball. These are all different ways that allow them to explore how objects work together. Third, we have parallel play. This is where they're playing in close proximity amongst other peers, but they're not necessarily engaging in the same activities together. They might be working on similar activities, but not interacting. So, for example, we have Johnny playing with his set of Legos, while we have another peer, Bobby, sitting 5 to 6 feet away, playing with his separate set of Legos. So they're engaging in the same activity. They're playing with Legos, but they're not interacting. They're not playing together. And fourth, we have pretend play or socio-dramatic play. And this is my favorite. This is where they're engaging in imaginative play by imitating real life actions. And this might involve creating and imagining roles, settings, props, and even different themes. And this is such a great way to teach social skills like perspective taking and conflict resolution skills. Fifth, we have cooperative play. Now we have them interacting and working together with a common goal or purpose. This can involve building a fort, completing a puzzle together, building a house with blocks. And with this type of play, they're building social skills as they're sharing, communicating with each other, and negotiating even. Last but not least, we have competitive play. So these are games or play activities that involve players or teams going against each other for a win or lose outcome. It could be a quick game of tic-tac-toe. It could be board games like Chutes and Ladders. It could even be an active team sports game. This is such a great way to build those teamwork skills and sportsmanship. And this is a little bit more advanced. So we kind of discussed the different types of play, and all of these different types of play bring in some great unique opportunities and benefits that are critical to our children's development. So here I just wanted to introduce some additional resources that captures a lot of the information that we'll be discussing today. And I've created these webinars along with these materials so that you can easily download to use as refreshers after these webinars or to pass along to anyone else who might be interested. And I'll introduce our VillageED program in a little bit, but our program includes an entire resource library, hundreds of them dedicated to parents and families. And part of that library includes these pamphlets that discuss a variety of different topics. So if you have time, if you're interested, please feel free to check these out. I'll be bringing these up again towards the end of our webinar. So why is play so important? Play is important because it supports problem-solving skills. When children engage in play, they encounter different challenges. As they try to overcome these situations, it kind of creates opportunities for them to think critically and explore different solutions. Whether they're playing alone or playing with other peers, they're always running into different challenges. Play also enhances social skills. So through interactions with peers or others, they learn essential skills like sharing, turn taking, and conflict resolution skills or problem solving skills, as I mentioned above. Play allows opportunities in such a fun and inspiring way to learn these skills without even thinking much about it. Moving on, play also builds communication skills. So whether they're negotiating roles in a game or expressing their ideas during imaginative play, children practice articulating their thoughts. They might even imitate or learn from others when they're playing. So what I like to do when I kind of try to engage our learners into play, I like to narrate a lot of the actions and activities that they're doing while they're playing. Sometimes I'll even expose them to very simple phrases that I'm kind of introducing to them or teaching them. So if I want to teach them phrases like I want, I see, I have, I'll continue to narrate these phrases during play. Play also promotes peer relationships. So engaging with others in a playful context, it allows children to bond and form friendships, which we want. In their very early stages, this kind of play is like their debut to social interactions with others. Play is such a great way to introduce these concepts. And tying everything in, play allows opportunities for skill building. As teachers or service providers, we're always thinking of ways to build skills. And one simple way is to literally sit together and work on a table in a structured manner. And although this is necessary and important, we want to use play as a way to teach new skills too. We want it to be fun. And lastly, play promotes movement and exercise. We want them to get their wiggles out and stay active, and this can be all done through play. Some common challenges. Now we kind of discussed why play is so important. I also understand that there are some common challenges that we face when we attempt to introduce different plays. And I captured these different challenges while working with students who are diagnosed with autism and ADHD. So we might face limited interest in toys and activities, difficulty with social cues, difficulty maintaining attention, limited interest in peers and others, communication barriers, lack of opportunities, rigidity to routine or familiar activities, limitations with imagination and creativity. Addressing common challenges when expanding play skills. Personally, like I said, those are all the different challenges that I've faced. So in the next few slides, I'll be providing some solutions to address each of those challenges. So first, we have limited interest in toys and activities. When I have a child or maybe even a teen with limited interest, I would try to gather information on what their interests or preferences are. Are they interested in certain colors, certain characters or cartoons, certain topics, or maybe even some sensory input? And with that, I'll try to build on from them and expand. I'll also gradually introduce new toys, maybe just a couple at a time, not overwhelming them with too many at once. I want to take the time to introduce each one of them, and I'm not just handing over a new puzzle set and leaving it there. I'm actually working with them and trying to make that experience fun. I want to keep that experience positive. Difficulty with social cues. We come across this challenge when we try to introduce some advanced types of play, like pretend play, sociodramatic play, cooperative play, and competitive play. And in these cases, I'd like to use some social stories, whether it's with cartoons or videos, or maybe even through simple storytelling. And I can use visual aids with pictures, or maybe even some signs, and role playing. Sometimes they might not get it the first time, but through repetitive role playing, we're teaching the specific cues and gestures. I'd also use clear language. Maybe I'll even stick with some familiar and simple phrases in the beginning. We want to introduce a variety, but I'll expand in a very slow and gradual manner. Lastly, I also want to practice understanding emotions. So I would start by having them label basic emotions like happy, sad, angry or mad, surprised, scared, and then eventually I want to have them identify these emotions with others or maybe even themselves. And down the road, we could even teach some advanced emotions like worried, anxious, or disappointed. Difficulty maintaining attention. So for some, play can be super fun, but for others, it might not be super fun. So we can start with very short periods of play, and then we gradually increase the durations. We can also offer some breaks in between, and we can incorporate activities with lots of movement. And I know it sounds funny that we offer these breaks in between play, but sometimes they are necessary. They might need that, couple minutes of break time in between. Limited interest in peers or others, and I run into this issue quite frequently, and I do respect their desire to want to spend time alone because I personally like to spend leisure time alone as well. However, we do want to teach the skill because it eventually branches off to so many other skills that are critical and beneficial in development. So to do this, we can organize play dates, especially with peers with similar interests or skills. We should continue to offer more opportunities to interact with other peers. We can model social interactions, or I highly recommend looking into a social skills group. If you have if you have the chance to, please take advantage of your insurance and maybe even call to see if your insurance allows some type of social skills training services because that could be very beneficial. Communication barriers. It's okay to have limited communication skills when we introduce play. Continue to work on building communication skills regardless of the form of communication. And I'd even narrate when you're playing with your child. This is super basic, but this helps tremendously. And if you haven't already, look into speech therapy. I'm pretty sure during speech therapy, they might even incorporate some play into their sessions. And while you're engaging in play together, practice some simple phrases during play. If you're teaching, like I said earlier, if you're teaching your child to request for things using I want, incorporate that during your pretend or sociodramatic play, just to have more opportunities for them to practice that skill. Lack of opportunities, this is actually the easiest one to address, mainly because this usually has to do with parents. And I completely understand we have a lot on our plates, but let's carve out a small amount of our day to work on play. That short segment of, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, the longer the better, of play will definitely add up to great achievements down the road. Rigidity to routine or familiar activities. And this is when we have children who already created some kind of routine or some kind of pattern of the way they play with things. So, for example, some parents will tell me that instead of playing with dolls and engaging in some pretend play or sociodramatic play, maybe the child will just line up the dolls or put them in a circle. When we kind of run into this situation, first, we definitely want to help them build tolerance to these new ideas and be flexible. And it's going to take time, and that's okay. It definitely might even cause some tantrums or challenges in the beginning, but very slowly and gradually have them tolerate new ideas. So, limitations with imagination and creativity. We can use cartoons or books to introduce new ideas, and a lot of the time, I see kids mimicking scenes or dialogues that they see in their favorite cartoons, and this is great. This is exactly what we want to see. Allow them to act these scenes out, or you may even start off by modeling this during pretend or socio-dramatic play. You can expose them to a variety of different themes of play too. So this requires your imagination here, but with a little bit of research, we can always expose them to many different themes. Like maybe it's a birthday party theme today. It's a campfire theme tomorrow. We can also build in playing doctors or playing vet. So many different themes you can incorporate. Or maybe even like the barber shop, pretend like you're the barber and your child is a customer. So ways to incorporate play for skill building. We want to first enrich the environment. We can designate a specific play area at home, and this can be some place in the house where they can spend their leisure time and have easy access to. I'd include a variety of different toys and materials that kind of cater to different interests and developmental levels. Some of these items, I want to make sure that it's meant for independent play too. And I plan to discuss this in a different webinar, but independent play skills are so critical. When we teach waiting or denied access, we want them to engage in an alternative activity, and that would be where independent play skills come into place. And second, spend time engaging in play. We discussed this briefly in the previous slide, but set aside some time to play together. This is where you kind of model different play ideas and take turns. Lastly, provide some tools to enhance play. We can organize play dates with peers who have similar interests or skills, offer some various toys to open up new ideas for various different types of play, create obstacle courses together to encourage some movement, add tools after considering their sensory sensitivities, and incorporate cartoons, social stories, and modeling. And I know I mentioned this several times today, but it's important. So aside from the tips and strategies that I presented today, I also wanted to offer another solution. Our VillageED program is another option if you need ongoing assistance from professionals. So if you've kind of tried all of the strategies that I brought into our webinar today and you need a little bit more support, or if you need some unique or tailored advice from our professionals, we have speech pathologists, occupational therapists, we have nurses, or BCBA like myself and IEP experts that can help address the concerns that you might have. So in a nutshell, applying for a program would mean exclusive benefits with expert guidance with IEPs, comprehensive IEP checklists, a private community, a resource library that I'll show in a bit, and on-demand support, as I mentioned. If you'd like to check our program, you can always find us on villageed.org. So that's VillageED.org. And here you can also find our past events. So this is our 10th webinar. We have 9 other webinars in different topics that you can also have access to. So these are just a few sample, but as I had introduced a few in the beginning of today's webinar, we have hundreds of these pamphlets, and these are all included in our resource library. So we have parent resources like the one that I've showed you. We also have some behavior management and skill acquisition procedures, which are kind of like a step-by-step lesson plan that you can use as a teacher and teach different skills to your child. We also have printable activities that kind of capture different domains and different areas, and you can simply download and print them and offer them to your child too. So let's connect. If you have any other questions or concerns that you'd like to discuss, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We have our email address here and our phone number, but you can always find us at villageed.org. And if you have specific questions or feedback for myself, please feel free to reach me with the contact information listed below. So thank you so much for your time and either joining us today live or watching our recorded events today. We hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.